Greetings viewers, Emerald here and welcome to a brand new series! You see, it's been ages since my last Minecraft related content and I needed an excuse to finally put my mediocre animation skills to use, so let me present to you Allthemodium 9! My favorite mod pack of all time, and I didn't mean for that to rhyme, and I'm gonna stop myself here. Rather than just slapping together some random funny moments that I happen to have recorded using instant replay and calling it a Shenanigans with the Boys video, instead this is an actual playthrough that requires careful planning, editing skills and a plot based on a true story. And this time I set myself the ambitious goal to create the ATM star and become the most powerful player this world has ever seen. And by this world I mean this save file, because I'm not the first person out there who did this. Also, I would have gotten this video out sooner if I didn't get distracted. So you might be wondering, why not Allthemodium 10? Well, simple answer, create! Or at least that used to be the case, because nowadays Allthemodium 10 is create as well, but I'm too far in to start over again, damn it. The road to greatness may include building a large factory, crafting ridiculously overpowered gear, casting powerful magic spells, constructing walls and turrets, ruining the environment with quarries, invading other dimensions and murdering bosses, creating a sprawling railway network, summoning friendly spirits, recreating the SCP Foundation, obtaining Allthemodium, building ridiculously complicated machinery, and making a miniature sun. Go supernova. Truly, the mod pack of all time. While we wait for this world to generate, let me tell you about our end goal, the ATM star. To make this thing we need mechanical crafters from the create mod and of course its components. An oblivion shard, a pulsating black hole, a wither compass, dimensional seed, creative essence, Patrick star, improbable probability device, philosopher's fuel, nexium emitter and a dragon soul. Each of these components consists of various items from a plethora of mods available, but for now my only goal is to build a base, our basic storage setup, gathering materials, defeating the ender dragon and ending off with the mechanical crafters we need for Patrick star. All it takes is some concrete and 55 mechanical crafters, which seems easy enough, but I'm also following the quest book which requires me to defeat the ender dragon before chapter 2 opens up to us in the first place. Well then, I think I've rambled on enough, so let's get the show on the road! Once the world was ready, I've been dropped straight into a frozen maple wood. This place looks suitable enough to build a factory, so let's start off with the basics, like punching a tree. Okay, so what was that? That is FTB Ultimine. By holding down the grave key, we can mine multiple blocks at the same time. So when we target this log, we can take down the entire tree with a single swing, as long as it has 64 blocks or fewer. So, isn't this kind of overpowered? You know what? That's up for debate. At least keep in mind that we can break no more than 64 blocks at the same time. And besides, your hunger bar will go down as if you just mined every single block by hand. That being said, let's put farming on the to-do list. After a little more deforestation, arming myself with a stone pickaxe and drilling a hole, I soon had enough materials to start building a base. With the start of a small farm and melting the ice around it with torches, I soon got busy with... Oh, of course. My first death, always because of an enderman. But so what? Before you point and laugh, player flesh, which is required for the philosopher's fuel anyway, can only be obtained if a player dies. And since it's just me this time, I had to die at some point to get it. On top of that, it's not a guaranteed drop, so of course I didn't get it this time. Anyway, moving on. Digging deeper, I found an underwater cave with this inside it. No way, did I just find a monster spawner? Oh, yes I did. Once the place was secure, I checked the contents of these chests and oh my, that is a lot of random stuff. The good news is that the sword and the spellbook will come in handy. The bad news is I don't have a lot of space for the rest of this stuff. You see, I opted to go for these awful, hideous chests for the time being. Lucky for me, there are plenty of mods offering better storage options like sophisticated storage, refined storage, RF tool storage, functional storage, dank storage, ender storage, arsenal storage, lectern, occultist and dimensional storage actuator, industrial forgoing transporter storage, bins. But none of these speak to me quite the same way that Applied Energistics 2 does. So to prepare for this, I didn't do a thing about it and started exploring the area instead, gathering more random stuff along the way. I like how these guys are just chilling. They don't attack. They're neutral. They will attack if I attack them, and they won't explode, they will just hit you. While traveling, I found an apotheosis boss. These are stronger versions of regular mobs, wielding weapons or armor with random buffs, and they come with randomly generated names. Excuse me, Donovan the AC Rizlord has awoken nearby. Anyway, I made a backpack. Very important. It takes leather and string to make one, but both have some easy workarounds to obtain them. String from industrial hemp and leather from 5 rotten flesh each. Oh look, a wandering trader. After idling a bit, a second trader spawned in, selling this ridiculous diamond chestplate. However, at this current stage, I could not afford this thing as I was lacking 8 diamonds and 55 emeralds, and by the time I would, this dude would probably despawn. So better luck next time. Anyway, let's put these spell scrolls to use. Normally, right-clicking will use them up, but using a pilfered books to craft an inscription table, we can cast these spells as much as we'd like, as long as we have the mana for it. A bit later, another trader spawned in, this time selling me an axe I couldn't afford. And I also defended my house against a home invading Enderman, getting my first Ender Pearl. Right. Next, I upgraded my farm to get some more of that bread. I planted some trees and went... And once that was done, it was time for more digging! Copper, zinc, magnetite, iron, nickel, tin, dark gems, salamoniac, gold, lead, osmium, resonating crystal, arcane crystal, aluminum, prosperity, quartz, fluorite, and finally, diamond and redstone. Now let's put this stuff to use. Starting off with a charger from Applied Energistics and a copper generator from Generator Galore to power that thing. The quest tells me to use a gold generator instead, but shut up. We make a compass, plonk it inside, and boom! Meteorite compass. As the name suggests, this compass will point to the nearest meteorite. However, it's just spinning slowly, which tells us we're not close enough to one. So once again, we move out. Along the way I found this tower, and on top of it is a waystone, which is basically a fast travel point. I also found a chest containing a paraglider from Breath of the Wild. Granted, as cool as this is, there are so many better ways to fly in this mod pack, so enjoy seeing me use this thing for the grand total of only once. That was close. A bit later, the compass finally caught the whiff of a meteorite. Around this area I also found some source berries, which I'll go over later, and this pillager fort looking thing. That is one epic looking building. Oh yeah, and oil! And eventually, there it was, a good old space rock. Using my shiny new diamond pick, I busted it open and found a mysterious cube inside. Cracking this thing, it gave me 4 presses, and also all this blue stuff around the cube is Certus quartz. All of this is required for the storage I'm building. Oh yeah, and on my way back I had my first encounter with powdered snow. Once I returned home, ignore the missing roof, I remembered, oh yeah, you can claim quest rewards. Some of these quests just give you a little bit of XP, some have specific rewards like steak and torches for getting wood, and some give you something random from a pool of items, like this hopping botany pot for example. Or how about slime balls, or some redstone, or bucket. One particular quest reward for unaliving a wandering trader gives you a sword of Alfred GG, who is a YouTuber who got the world record on a speedrun of Allthemodium 8. And it also gave us a pedestal to put it on display. Let's just put this here for now. Also, while eating roasted corn on the cob, I get a permanent health increase. A reward that the game gives you for eating different types of food. That being said, let me introduce to you a revolutionary new food item. Putting bread into a furnace, it makes... toast! It's bread, but warm. Anyway, back to me trying to build my storage. The main hurdle in crafting everything I need is Certus quartz. And that single meteorite isn't gonna cut it. Luckily, this budding Certus quartz works just like budding amethyst. Placing one down will grow more of those Certus quartz clusters we saw. Unlucky for me, unlike amethyst, they will degrade over time until you're left with a simple block of quartz that doesn't do anything. What you're meant to do is use your charger to charge a Certus quartz into a charged Certus quartz. Throw it and the Certus quartz block into a puddle of water.
I am under the water.
And it becomes budding quartz again. Each charged Certus quartz adds a level. It goes from damaged to chipped to flawed. There's also flawless budding Certus quartz, which doesn't degrade. However, it only spawns in meteorites, and when you mine one with a pickaxe, it turns into flawed budding Certus quartz, even with silk touch. But while under normal circumstances it's unobtainable, I did recently learn that you can use Ars Nouveau to turn it into a falling block. And if you place a torch beneath it, it drops itself, just like with the dragon egg. But I'll explain more about Ars Nouveau later. So, what do we do with this knowledge? Yep, that's right. Nothing. We're gonna completely disregard all of this. You see, the charger also works as a job site for villagers, which will then sell you Certus quartz for emeralds. So, time to get some villagers, which means travel time again. Heading east again, much further than last time, I came across a shipwreck. I immediately had some questions like, how, in the name of all that's holy, Did he get up there? Did the captain undergo a frontal lobotomy? Or is he related to Edward J. Smith? Anyway, let's salvage whatever's on board, like suspicious stew, a few more spell scrolls, and a goat horn. A bit further ahead was the new and improved ocean monument from Young's Better Ocean Monuments, a floating iceberg and a Viking ship. Using the portal spell I boarded it without placing any blocks. And enter the barbarians from mine colonies. Oh, hello. The funny thing about mine colonies is that all human-like mobs have actual voice lines, so naturally every time you kill a barbarian they'll go, "I'll be back!" Anyway, destroying their spawner so they won't be back, I began looting the ship. And unlike the previous boat I raided, this one actually had a lot of decent stuff in it, like micro-missiles, which I'll need for the ATM star. And 2 artifacts. Kitty slippers will cause creepers to run away from you, and rooted boots will slowly fill your hunger bar when you're standing on grass blocks. Unfortunately, once again, my inventory was too much of a mess to take everything with me, so I'll be back! After dumping all my stuff back home and upgrading my backpack from regular to iron to gold, I returned to continue looting the ship and break the last remaining spawner. Okay, scratch that, moving on. Oh look, a village, except this one is on the seafloor, and all the villagers have been replaced by drowned. Just great. I made some good use of the door method, where you place a door to create a pocket of air to breathe from. Suck it, Bedrock players. But due to a certain pesky Elder Guardian, I couldn't break it, as I had mining fatigue for another 2 minutes. And to make matters worse, moments later I was being assaulted by Deeplings from Cataclysm. Shit. Once I reclaimed my stuff, I nabbed the waystone from the village and made my escape. When I got to dry land, I found 3 Endermen. Have 3 guesses how that encounter went. After retrieving my stuff, again... Oh hey, humanoid flesh. I saw this cool island on the horizon, so I swam to it. Crab. Once I settled down for a bit, I took a look at the map. And it was at that moment I realized there was a village just south of my base all this time. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. So I placed down the waystone I found, teleported back to the tower that I found during my trip north, and headed home. Plonking more chests down to worsen my storage problem even more, I decided to use the summon horse spell and started heading south. Almost immediately I came across a sign pointing towards the nearby village. And after a little while, there it was, a frozen swamp village. So for once, the swamp villager type spawned naturally. Now, like any good Minecraft player, we raid the place and abduct the inhabitants. With the easy villagers mod, we can shift right click them with an empty hand to put them in our pockets like a human trafficker. So I kidnapped the villagers, raided their chests, stole an enchantment table and a few computers, and I helped myself to an inscription table to equip the spell scrolls I found in that shipwreck earlier. There's also this, a goddess statue from a paraglider mod. Just like in Breath of the Wild, you can trade in spirit orbs that you gain from breaking monster spawners to increase your max health or increase your stamina, which is currently only used for the paraglider. Health please. But then... oh. This house with the inscription table belongs to a priest. Priests aren't normal villagers, they're powerful wizards from the Iron Spells and Spellbooks mod. And I don't think he appreciated us rummaging through his chests. How did I deal with him? Well, I just ran away. Don't get me wrong, they drop great loot and if you're decently powerful you can defeat one with ease, but... yeah, no chance. Anyway, for reference, here's some footage of me in another playthrough dealing with an entire horde of those guys. Oh my god! After getting home, I got straight back to work. Unfortunately, some of the footage got corrupted, but as luck would have it, all that's lost I could just make up for by explaining how the Easy Villagers mod works. As you just saw, you can pick up villagers and put them into your inventory as items. But this mod also aims to bring all the functionality of villagers into tidy blocks. Except raid farms, which is fair. The farmer makes crops into more crops. The breeder takes food and 2 villagers to make a baby villager. The incubator takes baby villagers and grows them into adults. The iron farm takes 1 villager to passively generate iron and poppies. The converter takes villagers, golden apples and weakness potions to reduce trading prices. And the trader, well, you can guess what it does. But I would like to mention that rather than removing the workstation and putting it back to refresh their trades, come on. Shimmer literally does nothing. Come here, you son of a... The mod developers were nice enough to add a little button to refresh their trades instantly. Just like in vanilla, you can only reset trades if the villager hasn't been traded with already. So it's not overpowered, just a way to save your time and or sanity. With our selection of mods, many professions have new trades available. For instance, farmers now buy various new crops. Or what about armorers now selling stuff from the Railcraft mod? But most importantly, we've got brand new professions. In fact, some of the villagers we've just abducted have these new professions already. Like the computer scientist from Computercraft, or the pressure mechanic from Pneumaticraft. I've alluded to this already, but using the charger from Applied Energistics 2 as a job site, a villager can become a flux researcher selling both Certus quartz from the get-go and Fluix quartz later on as well. We also need more villagers to fill these traders. So here's a simple setup I've built while the footage was corrupted. The incubator is provided with baby villagers from this hopper, which extracts them from the output of this breeder, which in turn receives carrots from this hopper botany pot above it. And the reason I chose carrots specifically is because it's the only vanilla crop that doesn't produce any byproducts. So without any input, this will passively get us more villagers over time. And with that out of the way, time to trade. Fletchers to turn logs into planks, into sticks, into cash. Farmers, which I can keep cycling until they desire wheat and carrots. Toolsmiths to sell my iron to, twice, and to be a source of steel. And of course, our guy, the flux researcher for Certus quartz. Now, at long last, we can finally build our storage. And we start off by making ourselves an inscriber. This can turn Certus quartz crystals into dust, which we can then smelt into silicon. But more importantly, we'll use this together with the 4 presses we found inside that meteorite earlier to create 3 different types of processors. Each of those processors takes redstone dust, printed silicon, which is made with a silicon press, and one of the 3 printed materials, diamond for engineering, gold for logic, and Certus quartz for calculation. Sandwich them together with redstone and printed silicon, and we get the 3 processors required for crafting. Required for crafting. Additionally, we need Fluix crystals next. To make it, we toss some materials into a puddle. Redstone, charged Certus quartz, and nether quartz. I don't have any nether quartz yet. For now we can just get around this by buying it from our flux researcher, so no harm done. Smelting some of the skystone from that meteorite into their smooth variant, we're ready to craft this into an ME controller, the brain of our storage. Next, let's craft some item storage cells. There are multiple tiers to choose from, but long story short, we actually want to go with the cheapest option for now. With the sheer variety of items that we got, it's just not worth the time and effort to go higher quite yet. Perhaps another time. Storage cells are slotted into this, the ME drive. Each drive holds up to 10 storage cells, and if we ever run out of slots, we can always build more of them. And finally, we need a way to access these storage cells, a terminal. And I've run into a problem. Like I said, I don't have any nether quartz, and as it turns out, you need one for the annihilation call. From here, I realistically had 2 options. I could either level up my mason to the highest level, buy nether quartz blocks and convert them back into raw nether quartz, yes that's possible in this mod pack, or I could go to the nether. Just a quick trip, in and out. I will do a proper excursion once the storage is up and running. So I found myself a lava lake, poured water on it, and mined a full stack of obsidian in record time. No! Or maybe not. 22, that will do. After quickly building a portal outside my base, heading on through and fighting off hordes of hoglins, I pretty quickly found what I was looking for, portaled my way back to the portal, and escaped. I quickly made myself those last annihilation cores, finished the crafting terminal, and shoved everything I have into our new storage system. And there you have it. Storage completed. For now. I will move this later, expanding it in the process, but for now I can focus on other things, like more traveling! Along the way I found a mineshaft, a blazing archwood tree, a pit full of pitlagers, and another village, which meant more looting, but more importantly, another waystone gave me that opportunity to dump the stuff I looted into my storage, and also craft a nature compass that I forgot about. You see, I need andesite for the create mod, which is for some reason way more difficult to find than usual. Sure, I can always just use nether quartz and cobblestone to craft it, but I didn't want to. Instead, we can just use the nature's compass to find us a biome named Andesite Caves. I suppose you can see where this is going. Along the way I found yet another village. This one didn't have a waystone, but it has this. Duck. I also found this pretty cool looking lush cave, a flowering archwood tree, a leafless forest that looks as if Herobrine was here, a tower marking the entrance to a roguelike dungeon, which I'll explore later, this smaller tower that seems insignificant in comparison, this absolutely gorgeous looking frosted prison from Cataclysm that has one of the many super bosses in it, which I won't challenge right now, a Cryomancer tower from the Iron Spells and Spellbooks mod with one heck of a view, another one of these towers from Apotheosis with a nasty surprise beneath this trapped chest that I saw coming from miles away. way, and this, a ladder leading up to an airship. Or at least it was supposed to. But instead it didn't spawn in properly and just made a ladder go way up into the sky. Worse still, after climbing up, I then decided to break the ladder from top to bottom, forgetting the fact that ladders require a support block. Uh-oh. Shortly after, I continued my search for the andesite cave biome and pretty soon I found one, right beneath this Yellowstone biome. I mined several stacks of andesite to ensure I'd be good for a while and eventually headed home. Although not before making a quick detour past that island I found earlier to harvest some of that kelp for later. Once I returned home, I got straight back to... Can I help you? Get out of my house! Thank you. Right. Anyway, once I got back home I made a building wand and I renovated my basement a little bit. Then I made another generator, some energy pipes from the pipes mod, and I got started on Mekanism. Though I didn't get very far, just the basics for now. To get started, the first machine we need to craft is a metallurgic infuser. It's a machine that infuses stuff with other stuff. More importantly, we use this machine to create infused alloy, basic control circuits and steel for other machines. Except steel can also be obtained through other means. Time to put this stuff to use. The enrichment chamber turns stuff into other stuff. We can use this to be slightly more efficient with raw metals and the materials for the metallurgic infuser. We also make a crusher for crushing things into other things, like cobblestone into gravel and gravel into sand. There's a lot more to these machines than that, so if you're playing along, I suggest you check for recipes in just enough items by pressing U. And on a different note, some of the footage was missing yet again, and this time it was my fault entirely. The footage for the enrichment chamber and the crusher was recorded separately as a result, as well as this little path I dug between the house and the farm. And I swear to my grave that I didn't use the lack of recording as an excuse for the wandering trader to conveniently offer me this absolutely stacked pickaxe named Stonebreaker. Now that I have access to villager trading, I scrounged together enough emeralds to buy this thing. It has a brand new enchantment called Boon of the Earth. Each time you mine any kind of natural stone, there's a chance you'll also receive a random ore. And the best part is that it doesn't even have any weight to it. For instance, you're equally as likely to obtain diamond ore as coal ore. And as you might guess, higher levels of this enchantment increase the odds of obtaining these random ores. Speaking of naturally occurring stone, time to put our andesite to use. Combining 2 andesite with 2 iron nuggets, or zinc if you want to be wasteful, we can make it into andesite alloy, one of the core components for create. Another type of alloy, huh? Looks similar too. Right click this on a stripped log and it turns into andesite casing. For our first machine we'll make a mechanical press. And to make it work we'll need rotational force. However, instead of bothering with water mills or windmill bearing, I want to go straight to making steam engines. And for that we need to turn ingots into plates. Sure, I could make an engineer's hammer from immersive engineering or... crank. Drop some copper ingots beneath it and just crank it. Oh my god, I can't believe I just said that. For every 2 copper plates in a barrel, we get a tank, which you can use to generate steam when placed above a fire. Speaking of fires, campfires are a decent passive heat source, but we of course want the real stuff. What we want of course is a blaze burner. And we couldn't make one yet. Turns out we don't even have a single piece of netherrack from our quick trip to get some quartz. So, new plan. Step 1. Dig down to find some netherite scrap, which will also get us some netherrack in the process. Step 2. Find a nether fortress and some blazes. To capture with the blaze burners, but also for blaze rods, which we'll definitely need. And finally, step 3. Find a bastion for the 2 types of upgrade templates. That's right, 2 types. I'll explain more once we get there. Oh yeah, and before I went to the nether, I got lucky with the quest rewards, getting myself a free item magnet. Here's the crafting recipe. With it, we can teleport nearby items directly to us, slot it into one of the many bauble slots, and toggle it on or off with the press of a button. Alright then, let's go back to the nether. Our first course of action is to tunnel down to layer 13, our optimal spawn odds for ancient debris. And now that we're here, we start off by digging a... Yeah, digging down here can be quite treacherous indeed. Making good use of Allthemodium once again, we dig long 3x3 tunnels, really putting our newly upgraded pickaxe to work, and also repairing it with the EXP gained from mining nether quartz. However, with the sheer amount of stuff we're mining, I really regret not making any upgrades for my backpack. But at least I brought enough wood for a crafting table so I could show off all the compressed mod. The majority of the nether blocks can be compressed, saving a lot of space, and stuff like netherrack and gravel are no exception. Not much later I got pretty lucky, finding a patch of 3 ancient debris in one spot, and then some more, and then again some more. Oh hey! Aside from the random lava encounters, not much else interesting happened here, so I went back home with about 7 ancient debris in my backpack. Time to get those blaze burners ready. And some shenanigans with getting wood to power my generator with.
Wait, what?
Oh, come on! Fucking... Time to find us a nether fortress. On our way we found some crying obsidian, and I did this. But then I got swarmed by some very angry looking Soul Sand Valley Endermen. Fuck me, these guys are aggressive. Well, after that encounter I made it into the main structure of the fortress. Specifically, a Young's Better Nether fortress. Lots of loot chests here, but as it turns out, lots of wither skeletons as well.
Grenades. I'll take some ammo. Cool.
Oh.
Where are we off to?
Leave me alone. Thank you. Oh. Hey, stop coming down from the fucking towers. Fuck.
Mate, it's a level 3 difficulty. I highly doubt you need a sentry.
I must say though, I love the way this place is designed. It even incorporates some of the mechanics from Create, like this working portcullis. And the small detail of hiding some TNT on the opposite side, making it easier to break in. Anyway, it took me a while to find some blazes, but after exploring the walkways for a bit, I luckily found a blaze spawner. So I captured the 4 blazes I needed, and that's all I needed from this place. Time to head back once again. Remember that crying obsidian I found earlier? We'll use that for a scroll forge. With it, we can make our own spell scrolls. I'd like to put this to use on a way to find a Bastion remnant. More specifically, a way to fly. The Angel Wings spell. The scroll forge requires 3 things to make a new scroll. A piece of paper, magical ink, the rarity of which determines which scrolls you can make, and an ingredient depending on what element the spell scroll will be. Angel Wings is a holy spell, which requires a divine pearl. And for that we need gold and amethyst. We might not have any amethyst, but we do have archwood. With it we can make a dowsing rod to make it easier to find an amethyst geode. Wait, we use this to find amethyst for a divine pearl? A shame this thing is not called a divining rod. So, we find a geode, craft a divine pearl, forge the angel wing scroll, and slot it into our spellbook alongside a spell called Burning Dash. Whee! Which combines with it really well. After that, I finally made myself some much needed upgrades for my backpack. First of all, in my opinion the most overpowered one, a feeding upgrade. This will automatically force feed us any food items from our backpack. Next, a pickup upgrade. Any item that we pick up is added to the backpack instead of our inventory. And lastly, a compacting upgrade. Remember the older compressed mod adding compressed versions of most of the nether blocks? This will automatically compress items that were added via the pickup upgrade, saving us a lot of space. Why I didn't think of making this before our netherite trip is beyond me, because it really helps, but whatever, that's all in the past now. Oh, he came with me! Anyway, heading back through the portal, I quickly learned that the lowest level of Angel Wings doesn't last all that long. It's already worn off, that was very short. Higher levels will outlast the cooldown, so upgrade the spell if you don't feel like using jetpacks later on. But yeah, for now all we can do is fly for a bit, wait for the cooldown to be over, rinse and repeat. This is Sparta! Checking the map really helped though, as I could see a Bastion not very far away. In fact, the waypoint happened to be precisely on top of the treasure room. Boom! So now all I had to do was break in. I tunneled my way down, eliminated some of the piglin brutes in my path, and made my way to the pile of gold in the center of the room. And there it was. A netherite upgrade template, alongside some other goodies. However, I am a bit of an idiot. You see, I was supposed to get 2 upgrade templates. Diamond to netherite, which I now have, and Allthemodium to vibranium, which I don't have. You see, the upgrade template can only be found by brushing suspicious soul sand, which now spawns in bastions. Here's a problem though. I was planning to bring a brush, but I forgot. Oh well, it's not like this place is going anywhere. Besides, the vibranium upgrade doesn't really have a high priority anyway, so I'll come back for it another time. Back at base, I wasted no time processing my ancient debris. The crusher turns 1 single block of ancient debris into 3 dirty netherite scrap each, which you then put through the enrichment chamber to turn it into usable netherite scrap. In short, these 2 machines right here triple our netherite output the most efficient we can be. 7 ancient debris into 21 netherite scrap. So 5 netherite ingots. Not too shabby, huh? I quickly duplicated our netherite upgrade template and upgraded the stonebreaker from diamond to netherite. Now we can mine Allthemodium. The only problem though is finding it, because it only spawns in deep dark biomes. According to my nature's compass, the nearest one is over 3000 blocks away. When will I ever be done traveling? Lucky for me, I can fly now, which is a lot faster. In fact, too fast for the world to load in as it turns out. But, you know, that's fine, because while waiting for the cooldown I can instead ride a horse just fucking powdered snow! Random waystone in the open. Yoink! Crystal heart, plus 10 max health. Yoink! Archwood Forest, possibly one of the prettiest biomes at night. Redwood Forest, really tall looking trees. And here it is, right beneath this Highlands biome. We tunnel down, use the Angel Wing spell one more time to glide down safely, and we've arrived. Right then, there might be a little bit of skulk down here, but not much. Or at least not enough to generate any Allthemodium down here. So let's take a look at the map. The first thing I saw was this structure, and at the time of recording this I had no idea what this was, but I'll get back to you on that. More importantly, this cave right here seems promising, so let's mark this thing as well. After digging a tunnel, I came across another geode. Good enough for a checkpoint, I think. All I can say is that exploring down here is quite stressful. Eventually, I found it. Allthemodium ore. And as I got closer, I spotted the nearby Skulk Shrieker and destroyed it without triggering the... Fuck me, this stuff is stressful. Anyway, where was I? Let's see how much raw Allthemodium we can get out of this with Fortune 4. Only 2, are you kidding me? I continued exploring and found this mining outpost, getting the Centennial achievement for opening 100 loot chests. And not far away was this zombie spawner. Clearing it out was quite noisy, but good thing there were no shriekers around. And after looting, I returned home to deposit my stuff once again. I also went and claimed our reward for finding our first Allthemodium in the form of... hamburger. Anyway, back to our mining expedition. Curiosity got the better of me, so I tunneled to the structure I found. And when I reached it, I was greeted with dungeon blocks from Cataclysm. Making my way around the stuff, I found the entrance, at which point I remembered seeing the structure in another playthrough. This is an ancient factory. I investigated a little bit, but knowing that there was another super boss inside there waiting for me, I decided to leave. But I'll be back some other time. The very moment I left the factory and returned to the deep dark, I triggered another shrieker. And the inevitable happened. Shit. I got very lucky that the warden spawned right there, just outside of melee range. However, its sonic shriek attack was still a major problem. At 500 max health, the warden is quite tanky. Unfortunately for us, I'm not. Okay. It's a good thing I placed that waystone there. Otherwise I would have had to travel a lot further to return from the grave, and once I reclaimed my stuff, I finished the job. After searching around for quite a lot more than I would have liked, I finally found another Allthemodium ore, this time doubled thanks to Fortune, and then another, ending up with 5 raw Allthemodium in total. That's quite enough, time to leave. Right, so we got the Allthemodium, and what are we gonna use it for? Well, I'll be honest, I thought a bit too far ahead. I mean sure, there's plenty of stuff we'll need it for, but not right now, not in this episode at least. But on the plus side, we've done the hard parts. And besides, as it turns out, beating the warden was one of the requirements for the quests leading to the ATM star, including the Patrick star for this video, so we're on the right track. Next up, I did a lot of random stuff at random times, but in an order that makes sense for the video. I finished the roof of the house, finally, upgraded our backpack from gold to diamond, crafted a mega torch that prevents mob spawns in a huge area, messed around with nature's aura, I moved the farm, laid down the foundations of our factory, made a jetpack from Mekanism, and purchased a pair of diamond boots from a wandering trader. But going back to that jetpack real quick, we need to fuel this thing up. Unlike the jetpacks from iron jetpacks, which take energy, the Mekanism jetpack requires hydrogen, which we can make out of water using an electrolytic separator. Sure, we can just shove a water bucket into here, but we can also import it autonomously using pipes. Now you can't just lead a pipe from an infinite water source into your machines. You need some sort of pump. Mekanism's got one that takes energy. The mechanical pump from Create requires rotational force instead. The aqueous accumulator passively harvests water out of the surroundings.
Sink.
Turns out that the sink from cooking for blockheads is an infinite water source that a pipe can connect to, all within a single block. Anyway, to help me build a factory, I made myself a little gizmo, a little doohickey if you will, to help us build faster, a copy-paste gadget. It has two modes, copy and paste. Yeah, I wouldn't have figured that out by myself either. In copy mode, right click one block, shift right click another, now you have selected an area and copied blocks. Paste mode. If you hold the tool, you'll see a silhouette of the copied blocks. Right click to build them where you're aiming and it will automatically build using blocks from your inventory, like so. And now that's finished, time to build a steam engine. We place down our blaze burners, fluid tanks on top, attach a steam engine and another sink, and due to the passive heat from the blaze burners it already works. But if you wanted to go faster, feed the blaze burners any fuel items like planks or coal. Next I made myself a pair of engineer's goggles which allows us to visibly see various aspects of our create machines. And it looks rather silly. This looks weird. And then it was time to make us some mechanical crafters. One of the requirements is rose quartz. We get this either by combining redstone with nether quartz or just mining rose quartz from biomes of plenty. That counts too. But we can't use it in this state and we need to polish it. And to do that we need sandpaper, which is made with sand and paper. Who would have guessed? Then we combine this polished rose quartz with iron plates to make them into electron tubes. Next, we need brass, for the brass casing. And with all the mods 9 being a huge mod pack, there are several ways to make this. You could do it the way Create intended, using a blaze burner, a basin and a mechanical mixer together. Alternatively, you could build an alloy kiln or an arc furnace from Immersive Engineering, the alloy smelter from GregTech, a smeltery from Tinker's Construct, or, you know, you could just craft it in your inventory. Once you got yourself a brass ingot, right click it onto a stripped log just like with the andesite alloy from earlier. Bam, we've got brass casing. Now we combine these two with a crafting table and we got ourselves 3 mechanical crafters each. Do this 6 more times and we get 21 in total. But hang on, didn't we need 55 of these for the ATM star? Yep, but hear me out for a second. For now I'd just like to show how these mechanical crafters work. As long as they connect, they share rotational force, so you only need to power one of them. And each of them has a certain direction that you can toggle with a wrench. Once they start crafting, every component must follow a path leading towards the endpoint, like a depot for instance. And here goes. Okay, so I messed up. Big fucking deal. Getting it right the second time, I made these. Crushing wheels. I was planning on using this to crush gravel into sand for later, but procrastination is my creation. And they don't even have an associated quest. Also, I made a solar panel. You see, all this time I've been burning fuel to keep this generator running, just to be able to access my storage. Solar panels will passively generate energy, but only during the day and when it's not raining, or in my case, snowing. But that's no big deal since I just sleep every night anyway. The only problem is that it doesn't make enough power by itself to keep the system running. So I made another. Yeah, that's better. Next up, I bought myself a pair of Thunderforge leg guards. Went to the nether for more rose quartz, played another round of tennis with a ghast, and I found this book. What is this book, you might ask? Take off. You see, long story short, Ars Nouveau lets you make custom spells, which I'll explain next video. This book is one of many pre-made spells you can sometimes find in dungeon chests. Now get this. Remember my Angel Wings spell? All this does is give me a Elytra Flight for a limited time. This book does the exact same thing, except with a longer duration and a much shorter cooldown. It launches me into the air to make flying easier. And on top of that, Ars Nouveau has its own mana bar that works independently from that of Iron's spells. With this improved flight, I went to, you guessed it, explore! I found some driftwood where I got myself some steadfast spikes which reduce knockback for the wearer, and I found this place, a gatekeeper's house from the Blue Skies mod. Without elaborating any further, I break in, help myself to his belongings, break the turquoise bricks sitting in his attic, and rudely wake him up by breaking his bed. Okay, get your ass out of bed now. And he didn't care. In fact, he offered me a zeal lighter for 8 emeralds. That means we've got everything we need to get started with Blue Skies. Later. Next, I went back to that pillager fort that I saw when I was looking for a meteorite, and decided to snoop around. And I angered the horde. Holy fucking... Ah! There's so many! I didn't really get the chance to check the majority of chests in this place, as I got overwhelmed pretty quickly by the sheer number of pillagers and vexes, as well as illusioners. God, I'm a fucking porcupine. The spells I got on me simply weren't good enough for crowd control. Speaking of spells, however, I managed to get my hands on a Grimoire of Evocation. And on that note, I retrieved my stuff again and made a daring escape. Once home, I immediately replaced my old rotten spellbook with a shiny new Grimoire. 10% more powerful evocation spells, 100 more mana than the rotten spellbook, and it comes pre-equipped with Fang Strike, Fang Ward and Summon Vex, the calling cards of evokers. And since it still has room for 7 additional spell scrolls, it was time for some upgrades of my own. Heat Surge. At level 4, this spell strips enemy armor by 30%. Trust me, this will be useful. I also put in some spells I already had in storage and said my goodbye to Angel Wings. After that, I made something I should have made a long time ago. You see, every time you die, it makes a little tombstone that contains all your stuff. But not all your levels. And that's where this thing comes in, an experience crystal. Right click it and you can either store or withdraw EXP directly. However, this bypasses mending. There's a simple fix though. The XP tap converts liquid experience to XP orbs from any tank it's attached to. And it works with the experience crystal as well. So, if you're using mending on your tools, you might as well. Right, let's get back on track. To unlock chapter 2 in the quest book, we have to slay 3 bosses. We've done 1 out of 3 so far, being the Warden, and since I want to slay the Ender Dragon last, we'll go with the Witherboss second. That does mean, however, that we have to make another trip around the Nether to get Wither Skulls as well as Blaze Rods to make those Eyes of Ender. But while we're here, we might as well bring a brush and revisit the Bastion to dig up some Vibranium templates. I also found another Netherite upgrade template in this chest right here, which I didn't know was possible. I genuinely thought they only spawned in treasure room chests. One quick trip round home later, I built a wind turbine for more energy, made a purification chamber to process our Allthemodium, and made myself a warp stone. I remember dismissing this as just a crafting item, but as it turns out you can hold right click to teleport to any waystone from anywhere. I also made teleport paths, but once again I'll get to that another time. Right then, fortress time. Fighting all these wither skeletons and blazes really helped in practicing my spellcasting. And to make things easier, instead of dropping wither skulls, which has a very low chance, the wither skeleton tweaks mod adds a wither skull fragments that are regular drop from wither skeletons. Also, this boss called Ed gave me a diamond chestplate. Thanks, Ed. Once I gathered enough wither skull fragments and crafted 3 wither skulls, it was time for the most scuffed Witherboss fight yet. First of all, Elytra Flight is just not ideal for a boss that has a tendency to hover directly above you. And it constantly drained my Ars Novo's mana bar, so half the time I couldn't even use it properly. Sure, I made a jetpack from Iron's jetpacks, but it's a wooden one, which I never bothered to upgrade. And on top of that, I haven't learned my lesson last time, and my gear was too inadequate. Not only did I not enchant my bow, or bring any arrows for that matter, but I also didn't upgrade my diamond armor to netherite or even bothered with a helmet. Yet again, I didn't survive an encounter all the way through, but after a lot of struggling, the Witherboss went down. After that session, I took a short break from recording, but when I came back after an update for the mod pack, I noticed this book in my inventory called Materials and You. Tinker's Construct has finally been added. Tinker's Construct lets you make your own custom tools and armor, and after my struggle from last time, I thought I'd take some time to make a new bow. You see, every Tinker's tool is made out of several parts. A pickaxe, for instance, consists of a pickaxe head, a tool rod, and a binding. Each part can be made out of different materials, each of which have their own unique traits, such as durability, mining speed, mining level, melee damage, etc. Mix and match, combining those traits together into your unique tool. Does this sound familiar? Yeah, it's most likely the mod that inspired Silent Gear. Speaking of which, I also remembered a crucial detail. Putting any vanilla tool or weapon in the crafting grid by itself turns it into its Silent Gear equivalent, enchantments and all. Which I strongly recommend, it has no downsides and I hate myself for not thinking about this sooner. The main benefit of this, both Tinker's Construct and Silent Gear, is to make it so whenever the tool breaks, instead of it disintegrating, it becomes a broken item that you can repair later. If you don't have mending, you can also fix your Silent Gear tools up with the repair kit, which is great, because anvils suck. Ow! Anyway, this video is getting quite long, and none of this is important for the ATM star, so instead of explaining how Tinker's Construct works, I'm just gonna say that I've built an armory for creating and upgrading custom tools, and then I made myself a new bow. For now, let's move on to the final act of the video, beating the Ender Dragon. Fun fact! Her official name is Jean. Let's find ourselves a stronghold. We could use our Allthemodium for a structure compass, which we will use later, but instead I'm using Eyes of Enders like normal. Once I threw the first Eye of Ender, the search began. Along the way I found a desert well, except made out of snow. Pointless, I know. An abandoned grave, a village right on top of this sick looking cave, where I got jump scared by a mimic. Whoa! I went down to mine some uranium, and
I'm watching you.
Eventually, I moved on. The Eyes of Ender pointed down and I dug right into a stronghold. A Young's Better stronghold. This place is a maze. Like really, I had a really hard time finding my way around here. Because I just wanted this to be done and over with, I just broke the walls. And here it is. I made some extra Eyes of Ender with the loot I found along the way and went into the portal. Just like the stronghold, the end looks a little different. There's a large structure in the center and the Ender Dragon wasn't there yet. Instead, she spawned in as soon as I approached. Well then, let's fight. Making good use of my Ascend spellbook and my new bow, I made quick work of the end crystals and whoops. Anyway, continuing on, Hot Emerald X experienced kinetic energy whilst trying to escape the Ender Dragon. So, you know that if you use an Elytra you can die if you slam into the side of blocks? Yeah, the Ender Dragon knocked me back so hard that I died from the impact. If you didn't use Elytra Flight, this wouldn't have happened. Once the crystals were destroyed, it was time to hit the dragon directly where it hurt. I quickly found out that my bow wasn't dealing as much damage as I expected, so I resorted to using my sword and spells instead. Whoa! And not much later, Jean was defeated, and the end was saved. Roll credits. With the Ender Dragon defeated, Chapter 2 has finally opened up to us. We have a lot more to do. I immediately made some additional mechanical crafters and that's our setup done. And after gathering the materials for the concrete I needed, I placed the ingredients inside, fed the blaze burners and... Hey, there it is! Hat-trick Star! Except the only thing preventing me from completing the quest was making a mechanical arm, so I quickly did that, making a small setup for the precious mechanism, and there we go! Job done! For all of this we got a trident named Master of Patrick, as well as a pedestal for putting it on display. I must say though, it looks really fancy with all the white and gold, but it pales in comparison to the other pedestal I got. Anyway, that's a wrap. Next time I'll focus more on automation, going through different mods and venturing into the Twilight Forest. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to see when the next episode is up. Until then,